Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's New Mexico Activities Association 2A State Baseball semifinal matchup between the 14-4 number 2 seeded Eunice Cardinals as they face the 5-4 number 6 seeded Estancia Bears. I'm Jimmy Jones, and with me is Ovi Ontiveros, the junior himself here at Eunice High School. The Cardinals are 17-time state champions in baseball, ranking them number 1 in New Mexico title history, and they are chasing that elusive number 18 as far as state championships go. Max Preps has the Cardinals ranked at number 4, although they were seeded number 2, and Estancia comes into this game ranked number 6. Eunice enters the game after a huge win in the first round over Capitan, 12-0. In that game, Zeke Benton threw what ended up being a no-hitter. Only one Capitan player reached base, and that was on a fielding error late in the game after I made the comment, and I believe I jinxed him. He did pick up the win. The wild thing, Jordan Ruth came in for the save, throwing some heat. We also saw great work at the plate from the Cardinals. Several Cardinals hitting the ball really well yesterday, including Jorge Ontiveros, who hit his first home run of the season by blasting a shot over the left field fence. Chance Tucker also hit a shot off the left center field wall that I thought was going to leave the park. All around, it was just a great day of Eunice baseball. Estancia enters this game after upsetting the number 3 seeded Santa Rosa they upset Santa Rosa 9-8 in Santa Rosa. These Bears are not to be overlooked today, though. Due to COVID, they have played a very short schedule, but they are a tough baseball team. Their only losses this year are competitive games with Texaco and Rehoboth Christian. Those happen to be the two teams who played on the other side of this Final Four matchup. And then they also had a forfeit loss to Manal and a 4-2 loss to East Mountain, who is also in the Final Four of the 3A state baseball tournament. So these Estancia Bears are no joke. They're definitely not a team to be overlooked. Estancia is coached by Randy Archibek and assistant coach Tony Zamora. They come into this game somewhat mysterious because of the pandemic. They have not played a full baseball season. They've had multiple games canceled either because they had folks that might have been exposed or other teams had people that might have been exposed. So it's really difficult to know exactly what Estancia comes in with, and very few of their stats are online. For this Cardinals team, the one word that sticks out to me is depth. This team has tremendous depth at almost every position, including on the mound. In the games that we've covered this season, I've seen pitchers like Gio Chacon, Jordan Ruth, Chance Tucker, Sean Stinson, Jorge Ontiveros, Zeke Benton, and Conor Pierce, just to name a few. Highly unusual to see that many pitchers on a high school baseball team. Almost every player on this team can play pretty much every position, and there's not much talent drop-off when you start moving folks around. It's been something that's been special to watch this year. The Cardinals are coached by head coach Drew the Punisher Reynolds. He's a class of 95 Eunice graduate like myself. The assistant coaches are Tyson, the real deal, Pierce, and Anthony, Pretty Boy Pender. Those are your assistant coaches for these Eunice Cardinals. Oh, any thoughts on today's game?
Not much. For our lineup today, we have Chance Tucker starting off the Cardinals as pitcher. You have Conor Pierce, who has an extreme arm. We've seen that a couple of times. I would not steal a base on him. As the catcher at third base, we have Big Tucker, as you call him. Garrett Tucker at third. Hayden Dean at second. Jorge Ontiveros, I believe, is at third. Zeke Benton at shortstop. You have Sean Stinson left field. Gio Chacon center, and Marcus Tessero in the right field.
Yeah, and today we're going to start with Chance Tucker on the mound. We've seen him a couple times, and as I mentioned earlier, we're just deep at the pitching position, so we'll see how what I call Little Tucker does. He did really good at the shortstop position yesterday and had a heck of a day at the plate. Like I said, he smashed that one shot off the left center field wall that I thought was out of here, and next thing you know, it was bouncing back in. So, it should be an exciting lineup for these Eunice Cardinals. Estancia comes into this game with their leadoff batter and playing center field, Bernal, the shortstop Zamora batting in the number 2 spot, the first baseman Candeas playing first base, Wetterman playing third, he's the cleanup batter, Moore playing left, Lucero playing second, Montoya pitching, Boyle the DH, and the catcher will be Armillo, and the 9th batter will be Astorga, and he'll be playing in right field. We've got the 2 coaches and the umpires out here visiting at home plate right now, and we are not too far away from game time. I think we're about 5 minutes away. So let's send it back to the studio for 1 minute and a word from our sponsors. You're listening to Eunice Cardinal Baseball on the Noel Mark Broadcast Network.
I'd like to welcome everyone to today's ball game between Eunice Cardinals and
5,
the Estancia Bears.
3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Eunice, New Mexico, and I apologize, but they have got everyone standing now, and we're getting ready to start the national anthem. So I'm going to send it back to the station for 30 seconds and a word from our sponsors.
Seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back to the New Mexico Activities Association 2A State Baseball Tournament Semifinals, as the number 2 seeded Eunice Cardinals are hosting the number 6 seed Estancia Bears. On the other side of the bracket earlier today, we saw the number 1 seeded Texaco Wolverines easily advance to the championship game by defeating Rehoboth Christian. That was a run rule shortened game, so Texaco awaits the winner of today's game. The winner here will travel to Albuquerque to face Texaco in the state championship matchup. Eunice and Texaco have faced off the last 2 years in state football title games, with the Cardinals coming out on top during those football matchups. However, in baseball, Texaco has the slight advantage this season, as Eunice won Game 1 here in Eunice. Texaco won Games 2 and 3 in Texaco. However, let's not get ahead of ourselves, as this Estancia team does not intend to lay down and watch another Texaco-Eunice title battle. Today's game should be a good one. While we're here, we must mention our Lady Cardinals football program, coached by Coach Barrientos. Softball. I said football. The Lady Cards have had an amazing season this year and advanced all the way to the state semifinals by defeating Santa Rosa at home. They did go to Tularosa today to face the number 1 seeded Tularosa Lady Wildcats, who have been a powerhouse all year in 2A softball. Eunice did lose that game. After leading early, they lost 15-2. Some other great information here to discuss is some Eunice Cardinal history. The Cardinals enter postseason with 17 state baseball championships, number 1 in all classes in NMAA baseball. They are chasing number 18. Cardinal greats include New Mexico State University current pitcher Mason Caperton, who was up here in the booth with us. I'm not sure where he went now. He was a part of 3 straight football championships here. Other great names in Eunice baseball history include Almaguer, Trammell, Contreras, Thompson, Dean, Jones, Moberly, Gladden, Brown, Harvey Hayes, Fisher, Crowell, Diamond, Gruber, Langley, Wright, and Langston. Wanted to throw some of those names out there. We are getting ready to start here. We've got the first batter. It's number 14, Bernal, the center fielder, steps into the right-handed batter's box, and we've got Chance Tucker on the mound for the Cardinals. First pitch, he wastes no time. He kicks and fires. That ball's hit a slow roller over toward Dean. Dean picks it up, slaps it over to first base for out number 1. So Dean with a good field and play there and a good throw over to Big Tucker at first base for the first out. So that'll bring to the plate number 1, Zamora. Zamora comes up to the plate, the right-handed batter, with 1 out here in the top of the first of the New Mexico State 2A State Tournament semifinals. Tucker gets the sign from Conor Pierce, the catcher for the Cardinals. He wastes no time, kicks and fires that pitch. Must have been slightly outside, I'm assuming, for ball number 1. Looked like a good pitch there by Tucker. Tucker wasting no time. He's already got the sign. Kicks and fires that ball right down the middle, but I'm assuming it must have been a little low. Maybe from our angle, that's what the deal is. Those pitches may be a little bit low because they called that ball 2. So 2 balls, no strikes. Here comes the next pitch. And that ball, I guess, is going to be low as well. So 3 straight pitches that must be low because they look like they're right over the plate from our vantage point. So 3-0 here to the second batter of the game for Estancia. And that's another pitch that looked like it was over the plate. Those pitches got to be low. That's all I can think. So 4 straight pitches, 4 balls, sends number 1, Zamora, over to first base. So that'll bring up the first baseman. I'm going to say it's Candelas. He's up, the third batter for these Bears. That pitch is low and inside for ball 1. So 5 straight pitches that are low here for Tucker early in this game. Tucker takes the sign. He kicks and fires. That ball's right down the middle, but it's got to be low again.
It looks a little low from my angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's got to be. That's the only thing I can think of because from where we're at, it looks like it's going over the plate. So it's another low pitch. It's now 2 balls, no strikes. Tucker fires that ball back over toward first. Zamora is able to dive back in there under the tag. Tucker did a really good job of keeping that ball in front of him and not letting it get to the fence as it skipped off the turf in front of him. So Zamora is on first. There's a strike right there on the outside corner. So that makes it 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out here to the third batter for these Estancia Bears, Candelas. Candelas steps back into that right-handed batter's box. He's ready. A 2-1 count. Here comes the pitch. And that ball's right down the outside corner for strike number 2. So that evens up the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. We've got 1 out and a runner first in Zamora. Chance Tucker on the mound for the Cardinals. He takes the sign from Conor Pierce, the catcher. Here he comes. He fires that one down the middle, and it swung on and fouled back into the screen. So Candelas stays alive here for the Estancia Bears. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The first baseman, number 16, Candelas. He's already back in the box. He's ready. Got the back cocked and ready to go. Here comes Chance Tucker. He kicks and fires. That's a good-looking breaking ball that comes across. A big swing and a miss. Ring him up, set him down, send Candelas over for a glass of water. That's 2 outs. That brings to the plate the cleanup batter, number 6, Wetterman. I believe that's going to be Clayton Wetterman is the way I got it in the Max Preps. He's the cleanup batter. Here comes Pierce with a big throw out there, and they get him at first. They tried to steal on Pierce. We have mentioned this over and over this year. We think these people must not get the scouting report on Pierce. I have not seen many people steal on him, and he just gunned down Zamora trying to steal second. So at the end of the top of the first, Eunice gets out of that little jam that they were in with 1 runner on the bases by gunning them down out to second. We'll send it back to the studio for a word from our sponsors for 30 seconds. You're listening to Eunice Cardinal Baseball on the Noel Mark Broadcast Network.
You're clear. Also, don't forget to tell them that they can stream it on YouTube.
Okay. Streaming on
3, 2, 1. Yes, stream on YouTube.
Welcome back, ladies. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully drop that temperature a little bit. It's a hot one, and we've got Estancia here as Eunice is hosting the Estancia Bears in the semifinals of the 2A New Mexico State Baseball Championship game. You can listen to this game on Cool 95. You can also listen to it at HobbsAmerica.com by clicking on the Cardinal, or you can go to the YouTube channel for Eunice and watch our live stream and listen as well, and we'll get you some more information on that as the day goes on. For Eunice, the leadoff batter will be number 7, Hayden Dean, the senior, who's playing second baseman. Hayden will be on his way next year to play some college football. The second batter will be number 24, Jorge Ontiveros, the third baseman, who knocked it over the left field fence yesterday. Batting third is number 13, Conor Pierce, the catcher, with a cannon of an arm that just keeps showing people over and over and over why you don't steal on him, just like you did in that last top of the first there. Pierce has also hit some of the most long fly ball home runs out of this park that I've ever seen. And then Garrett Tucker is the cleanup batter playing first base. So Hayden Dean steps up into the right-handed batter's box. The second baseman and senior, he's stretching out, warming up a little bit. He steps into the right-handed batter's box, and he is ready. For Estancia, they're going to have Montoya on the hill. He'll be pitching for the Bears. And we are ready to begin. The catcher, Jaramillo, squats down behind home plate, and he gives the sign. Pitcher takes, kicks, and fires, and that ball swung on and missed by Dean for strike number 1. Montoya, it looks like, is going to be Nathaniel Montoya, the junior, is on the mound. He's ahead in the count, 0-1 here. Dean steps back in, and he's ready. Pitcher has the sign. He kicks and fires. That ball swung on and driven over the top of the head of the shortstop for a single. Dean takes the turn at first and then eases back over there for a casual stroll to stand on first. He gives Coach Pierce a little fist pump. And so Dean, the leadoff batter, is on first base, and that'll bring up Jorge Ontiveros, number 24, but number 1 in our hearts, as he likes to tell us. So Dean with a single. Ontiveros at the plate. The pitcher, Nathaniel Montoya for the Estancia Bears, will now switch over into the stretch. Ontiveros is in the box, the right-hander. He's ready. Here comes the pitch, the kick, and the fire. That ball swung on and missed. A big breaking ball that started out over the plate and then faded low and way outside, and Ontiveros just couldn't resist. He took a big cut at it. So 0-1 here to Ontiveros, the number 2 batter for the Cardinals. Dean with a big lead. He looks like he may be getting ready to boogie. Here he goes. That ball swung on and driven into left field. It's going to get through. Dean was already going, so he turns and heads for third. They're going to hold him up at third. Ontiveros into first with an easy single. That's going to put runners at the corners. Dean on third, Ontiveros on first. No outs here in the bottom of the first. That's going to bring Conor Pierce, the hard-hitting junior, the catcher, up to the plate. Pierce has switched bats here late in the season. Early in the season, he was using a different colored bat. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but that's definitely a different bat than what he was using earlier in the year. The right-handed junior steps into the right-handed batter's box. He's ready. There goes Ontiveros. The ball gets past, and Dean is headed home. He slides in there like Pete Rose, and he is safe. Dean, the senior, scores the first run of the game here to put Eunice on top 1-0 in the bottom of the first. Ontiveros is standing on second now. And Pierce, the Eunice catcher and right-hander, he's a hard hitter. He steps into the right-handed batter's box. Ahead now 1-0. 1 ball, no strikes after the pass ball scored a run. Eunice up 1-0. Here comes the pitch, and that ball's low and outside for ball 2. So Pierce ahead in the count 2-0. The pitcher for Estancia, Nathaniel Montoya, threw that big breaking ball outside there. He sure wouldn't want to float that ball up over the plate for Pierce. So Pierce is in there ready. Here comes Montoya's pitch, and that's another big, soft breaking ball that stayed high, it looked like, but it was called strike 1. So 2 balls, 1 strike to Pierce, the number 3 batter for these Eunice Cardinals all year. And this man typically hits the ball, and when he does, he hits it hard. So he's in there, he's ready. Here comes the pitch. That ball's driven high, and I think it's going to get out of play. It's going to be close.
Barely missed.
I couldn't tell if they come down with it or not.
No.
The catcher and the third baseman crashed into each other as they hit the net over there, and as I was looking around the corner, it looked like the guy had the ball in his glove, but it must have skipped up off of something, and then he got it. So that's going to make it 2-2, an even count here to Pierce. Ontiveros standing on second starts to lead off here. Montoya, the pitcher for Estancia, takes a look down at the catcher. The catcher, Armijo, gives him the sign. He kicks and fires. That ball swung on and missed for strike number 3 for Pierce. So he goes down swinging for the first out of the game for the Cardinals. It's going to bring Garrett Tucker, the cleanup batter and first baseman, who I often call Big Tucker. Big Tucker steps into the right-handed batter's box. He relaxes his bat on his shoulder, takes a look at the pitcher Montoya. Now he cocks the bat up and he's ready to go. Ontiveros standing, leading off a second. That ball swung on and fouled off over toward the first base dugout. So that'll be strike number 1. No balls, 1 strike here. 1 out. We're early in this game. 1 out into the bottom of the first. Catcher for Estancia, which is Armijo. Looks like he's having some trouble with his shin guards. He was fixing those. He's ready now. Big Tucker steps into the right-handed batter's box, and he's ready. The pitcher Montoya for Estancia gets the sign. He kicks and fires. That ball swung on and driven high and deep down the left field line, and it's going to hit just foul, maybe 5 to 10 feet left of the foul line, and then skipped off the left field wall. Man, if he'd have hit that about 5 or 10 feet to the right, we would have been off to the races. So Tucker steps back in after hitting a shot down the left field line that goes foul. That puts him 0-2 in the count here. One out here in the bottom of the first. Big Tucker at the plate, Little Tucker on deck. Big Tucker steps in, he's ready. Here comes the pitch, and it's high and inside. Almost blacked Big Tucker's eye. He ducked and threw his head out of the way. That's ball number one. 1 ball, 2 strikes here to Big Tucker. 1 out. Jorge Ontiveros with a big lead at second. The second baseman for Estancia, Lucero, is trying to hold him on. The pitcher kicks and fires. That ball's driven high right over the second baseman's head into the outfield. Here comes Jorge Ontiveros. He's on his horse headed for home, and he's going to easily score. So Jorge Ontiveros scores as Big Tucker gets the RBI single into shallow center field. Eunice now up 2-0, and that's going to bring up the pitcher, Chance Tucker, to the plate, the right-handed batter for these Eunice Cardinals, the number 5 batter typically. And today, Little Tucker steps into the plate, and he's ready. Big Tucker is standing on first. He's going to lead off here. The first baseman, Candelas, is going to try to hold him on. Montoya takes a look over at first. He gets the sign, kicks and fires, and that ball is high to Little Tucker for ball 1. So 1-0 here to Little Tucker. Chance Tucker, number 9. He steps into the batter's box and then steps back out, takes a look over at Coach Drew Reynolds, and now he's back in the box and ready to go. Garrett Tucker on first. He gets a lead. Chance Tucker in the right-handed box. He's got his bat ready. Here comes the pitch from Montoya. It's swung on and driven, bouncer toward the third baseman. The third baseman comes up, picks it up off the bounce, throws it to first and gets the out, but that advances Big Tucker all the way to third. So Chance Tucker with the ground out to the third baseman. The third baseman come up and made a really good play on that skip and then fired it over to first to get Little Tucker at first. So with 2 outs, a runner on third, we're going to have Zeke Benton, who pitched one heck of a game last night here on this field. He's going to step into the batter's box. He's a right-hander as well. He's playing shortstop today. We've got Big Tucker with the lead on third. It's 2-0 Eunice. Here comes the first pitch to Benton. That ball's driven high towards center field. The center fielder's coming up on it, and he makes the catch in shallow center field. So Eunice gets 2 runs here in the bottom of the first. We're going to move into the second. Eunice up 2-0. You're listening to Eunice Cardinal Baseball on the Knollmark Broadcast Network on Cool 95. And back in, he's playing third base. Clayton Wetterman, the third baseman for the Estancia Bears. He was at the plate at the end of the first inning when Conor Pierce gunned down the base runner trying to steal second. So Wetterman steps into the right-handed batter's box. Chance Tucker, the pitcher for the Cardinals, rocks and fires low and outside for ball 1. So 1-0 here to Wetterman, the third baseman. He steps back into the right-handed batter's box. He's ready. Chance Tucker kicks and fires. That ball's driven right back toward Chance Tucker, and he slaps his glove at it and makes the catch for the out. So Chance Tucker with a really good play there at the pitcher's mound as soon as he let it go, Wetterman drove it right back at him, and he slapped the glove up and snatched it for out number 1. So Wetterman goes down on a line out to the pitcher, and now we'll have Moore, the left fielder, stepping up to the plate. That ball's going to be low and outside for ball 1. As I look through this, it looks like it's going to be Moran. Roman Moran is going to be his name. If you've ever read baseball coaches' handwriting, it's worse than doctors, so just so you know. They send us up these lineups, and I'll say some names sometimes, and then I look at the Max Prep names of their players, and I'm like, where did they get some of this stuff? But anyway, so we've got 2 balls here to Moran, and that ball's going to be in there for strike number 1. So 2 balls, 1 strike here to Moran, the left fielder. He's number 8 for Estancia. He's a junior. That ball's in there for strike number 2, so that evens up the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes to Moran. Number 8, the junior. Chance Tucker on the mound. Conor Pierce catching for the Cardinals here. Here comes the pitch. It's a big breaking ball that stays outside to make it a full count. So 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out here to Moran. We've got at first base, we've got Garrett Tucker. At second base, we've got Hayden Dean. That ball swung on and hit foul. At the shortstop, as we mentioned earlier, we've got Zeke Benton, and at third, Jorge Ontiveros. Out there in right field, we've got Marcus, the hitman Tercero. Out there at center, we've got Gio Chacon, the ump. And in left field today, we've got number 14, Sean Stinson. So here comes the pitch. That ball's driven over toward the second baseman. Dean makes a good play on it, fires it over to first to Tucker for the out. So that's 2 outs here. In the top half of the second, Dean with a nice play off the skip up off the turf, fires it over to Tucker at first for the out. So 2 outs. That's going to bring up number 10, and I believe that's going to be Lucero. And on the Max Preps and on the coach's scrib, it looks like it's A.Z. Lucero, the sophomore. Big breaking ball there from Chance Tucker. They swing and miss for strike 1. So 0-1 here to Lucero. He's number 10, plays second base for the Estancia Bears. Here comes the pitch from Tucker, and that ball's low and outside for ball 1. So 1 ball, 1 strike here to Lucero. Tucker pulls off the hat, runs his fingers through his long blonde hair. If this was Major League Baseball, we'd be thinking he was trying to get a little grip out of something in his hairdo. Here comes the kick and the pitch. That ball's low and outside for ball 2. So 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs here. We're in the top of the second. Eunice up 2-0. Lucero in the right-handed batter's box. Here comes the pitch. It's driven over toward the second baseman. Skips up off the turf. Dean grabs it, throws it to first for the out. That's 3 outs. 2 of those at the pleasure of Hayden Dean. His glove and throw over to first gets 2 of those outs. Eunice leads 2-0 as we move into the bottom half of the second. You're listening to Eunice Cardinal Baseball Championship. Eunice has already won 17. They're in pursuit of number 18. And so here we go. Marcus Tercero will step up to the plate here. He'll lead off the bottom of the second for the Eunice Cardinals. He's number 22, and he is the junior. He stepped into the box and then stepped back out. The pitcher stepped onto the rubber, and as soon as Marcus stepped off or stepped out, then the pitcher stepped off as well. So they're saying something over toward the first base dugout. Looks like the umpire had some words for them over there toward Estancia's dugout. And now we've got Tercero back in the box. The pitcher, Nathaniel Montoya for Estancia, steps onto the mound. He's ready, and he fires a big breaking ball way outside for ball number 1. So Tercero takes ball 1. He'll step back into the right-handed batter's box, and he is ready. Montoya steps on to the mound. Kind of a strange thing for Montoya is here as he is pitching from the stretch, and that ball's driven right back toward him by Tercero. The pitcher, Montoya, picks it up, throws it over to Candelas at first base for out number 1. So down goes Tercero as the leadoff batter here in the bottom of the second. That's going to bring up number 2, Gio, the ump, Chacon. I call him the ump because he spent most of his spring out there umping Little League. We're still on the live broadcast, but it looks like we got disconnected again. So let me see if I can get us back. So I will do my best to get us back. Those of you watching the stream, I'll get us back on here as quick as possible on the station.
Tie line disconnected.
All right, it looks like we are reconnecting just as Gio Chacon takes ball number 4 and heads over to first base. I apologize. I don't know why, but we've had that happen a few times yesterday, and it's happened, that's the first time today, but sometimes it kicks us off the connection, and it did right there. So we've got it back up and running. Gio Chacon standing on first base. He takes the big lead, and as Chacon takes the lead, Sean Stinson, the left fielder, steps into the right-handed batter's box. He takes a big swing and a miss for strike number one. So Chacon standing on first. Sean Stinson, number 14, the left fielder. He's behind in the count here, 0-1. He steps back into that right-handed batter's box. Chacon starts with the lead. The first baseman trying to hold him on, and there goes Chacon. The throw down to first is not going to be in time, and Chacon easily slides in to second. Semi-Pete Rose there as he went head first. Skidded in there easily under the tag. So 0-2 the count to Stinson. But Chacon stands on second in scoring position here for the Cardinals, who already lead 2-0 after 2 runs in the bottom of the first. We've got 1 out here, 2 strikes to Stinson. He's back in the box and ready. Here comes the pitch. It's a big breaking ball that is a called strike. It started off shoulder level inside, but it curved back in. And looked like it was still a little inside from our angle, but it's definitely a good pitch. So called strike 3. So down goes Stinson, and we head back to the top of the lineup with Hayden Dean, the senior, number 7 and right-hander, stepping into the right-handed batter's box with Chacon standing on second with a big lead. Here comes the pitch. That ball sails over the head of Dean. Dean has probably been hit more this season than I've ever seen anyone get hit in one season. I remember one game this year where he got hit 3 times in 1 inning. I've never even thought about that happening in 1 inning, but he got hit 3 times in 1 inning this year. So Dean steps into the right-handed batter's box. He's ready. He swings and misses there for strike number 1. So 1 ball, 1 strike here to the senior Dean. Chacon, the ump, standing on second beside the ump. 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the second. Eunice up 2-0. We could use another run here. Dean's just the man to deliver. He swings and fouls that ball back over towards some of the vehicles parked along the street. If your vehicle's got dings or dents, Dean's your man. He steps back in. He's up here with us. He said he'll take care of any damage that you might have out there. So, Hayden steps into that right-handed batter's box. He's behind in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We've got 2 outs. Eunice leading 2-0. Chacon on second. Montoya, the pitcher, kicks and fires that ball low and outside. And that's going to move Chacon over to third as the ball skipped up off the turf. And by the time the catcher could find it and throw it over there, Chacon was dang near there. So he slid, don't know that he even needed to, but he's safely into third. So we've now got Chacon standing on third. We've got 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. We're up 2-0. We've got to have a Heath Dean, whatever he always says, Paper Rock Boogie or something like that, over from the announcing table. Here comes the pitch, 2-2-2. That ball's driven high into left center field. That's going to score a run on the RBI single from Dean. Great piece of hitting there as he drove that ball right over the shortstop's head and into the green out there for the single. Chacon scores. That makes it 3-0 in favor of Eunice. And Jorge Ontiveros, the man who hit one heck of a nice shot yesterday, the junior, he says he's number 1 in our hearts. Let's see if he's number 1 today. He's going to step into that right-handed batter's box. The catcher for Estancia, Bernal, having troubles with his shin guards again. That's about the 3rd time we've seen him have to stop and work on them and pause the game. Here comes the pitch from Montoya, and it's driven high into left shallow field. They're all running for it. Nobody comes down for it. Dean, who is running, they called Dean out at third. And the ump from home plate called it as Dean was diving back into third. And the ump that was sitting between second and third that had the angle just turned his back and started walking away after the ump from home plate called him out. And so they're going to talk about it a second, but they're going to go ahead and call him out. So Eunice picks up another run here. That makes it 3-0 in favor of the Eunice Cardinals, and we're going to move into the top of the third inning. You're listening to Eunice Cardinal Baseball on the Nullmark Broadcast Network, on Cool 95, and on YouTube on the Eunice Cardinal YouTube channel. Let's send it back to the radio or to the station for 30 seconds. Hey, Tiff, while we're waiting, the YouTube channel, is it Eunice YouTube or what?
It's Eunice Sports.
Eunice Sports, okay.
Yeah, you just type it into the search bar and you can find it there.
Okay, I'll write that here.
5, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the New Mexico State Activities Association 2A State Baseball Tournament, where your Eunice Cardinals are hosting Estancia in the semifinals of the State Baseball Championship Tournament. Eunice comes into this game seeded number 2, ranked number 4 in Max Preps. Estancia comes into this game seeded number 6, ranked number 6 on Max Preps. Eunice with a 3-0 lead. We want to make sure that everyone that's interested understands that they can go on YouTube and punch in Eunice Sports in the search engine to either watch or listen or both to this game. So we want to make sure also that we thank all of our normal sponsors. We'll go through those as we go, but Parker Energy, the City of Eunice, Eunice Pump and Supply, Eunice Health Clinic, and Zia Auto, and I'll get some of the others as we go, as Chance Tucker is on the mound and he is ready. Here comes the first pitch, and it's high, foul ball, driven out of play. Montoya, which is the pitcher for these Estancia Bears, is at the plate. He is number 4, and he's the number 7 batter for the Bears. Nathaniel Montoya, he is a junior. He steps back into the box, and he's ready. There's a big breaking ball that comes across for strike 2. So no balls, 2 strikes here as Chance Tucker has battled ahead in this count. Conor Pierce behind the plate again. Here comes the pitch from Tucker. It's a big breaking ball, but it stays just a bit inside, doesn't come back enough. So that'll make it 1 ball, 2 strikes here. We've got a pitcher versus pitcher duel here as Chance Tucker's on the mound. Montoya, the pitcher for Estancia, is at the plate batting. He swings and drives that ball over towards short. The shortstop was able to stop the ball, but from the angle he was running, tried to backhand it and pick up and just couldn't quite get to it. So I would say that that's probably a single. It was hit right in between second and short. I don't think the shortstop had a whole lot of chance, even if he had fielded it cleanly, of gunning him out over at first because Montoya was going. So Montoya, the leadoff batter here in the top of the third, is on first. That ball's fouled off by number 15, Boyle. Boyle is the DH here for Estancia. I was trying to see if I could. Hayden Boyle is what the paperwork on Max Preps has him listed as, the third baseman. He's a sophomore. So Boyle, after the foul ball, behind in the count 0-1. We've got Montoya, the pitcher, standing on first with a small lead. There's a big breaking ball in there for strike 2. That's a good-looking pitch right there. That ball looked like it moved about 2 foot from our left to right, not to mention the height and elevation change. So that was a good-looking pitch there. Here's another one. That one just doesn't quite come down enough, so that'll be ball 1. So 1 ball, 2 strikes here to Boyle, the right-handed sophomore. He steps back into that right-handed batter's box. He's ready. Here comes the pitch. That ball's fired right down the middle, but it must have been low. And you could tell Tucker did not like that call. He's shaking his head and whatnot. It looked like a good pitch from where we sit, but it's hard to tell. I know Tucker didn't like it. So 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here comes the next one. And that's another one in the exact same spot. And Tucker is shaking his head again. He did not like that call. So Tucker now, after 2 straight pitches that from our angle look right down the middle, It's a full count here. Tucker steps off the mound, fires to first, trying to pick off Montoya. Montoya slides back in there safely. Full count here to Boyle. Here comes the pitch. And that ball's called strike. It looked like the exact same place as the last two pitches, but the ump liked it, so he jumped up and pumped his fist, ring him up, set him down, send number 15 Boyle for a nice glass of water in the dugout. And that will bring the right fielder, Astorga, to the plate. Montoya still on first. Here comes the pitch from Tucker. That ball's driven right back over toward Tucker. Oh, Tucker tried to turn and throw it to second. They were trying for the double play. The ball goes all the way into center field, and that's going to advance Montoya over to third. So now we've got runners at the corner after an error there. That ball was a skipper right up to the pitcher. Tucker turned and threw it kind of across his body, trying to turn the two. And as the shortstop was running to second, the ball was just behind him, and he just couldn't quite get to it. So with one out, Estancia here now threatening. They've got runners at the corners, and they're back to the top of their lineup. Bernal, the center fielder, is in the right-handed batter's box, and he takes strike number one after a great pitch there, fired right down the middle by Tucker. Runners at the corners. 0-1 here, one out. Eunice up 3-0. Here comes the pitch. That ball's fired right down the middle. They try to steal. They get him, but not before Estancia scores a run. So they tried the double steal there. Pierce went ahead and fired it to second. They pick off the runner headed to second, but as they did that, Montoya goes ahead and sneaks down the line and scores. So that makes it 3-1 in favor of the Cardinals. There's now nobody on base. It's a 1-1 count here to Bernal. That ball's going to be low and outside for ball two. So 2 balls, 1 strike. Little Tucker here showing a little frustration on the mound. He kicks and fires again, and that ball's in there for strike 2. So we got a lot of 2s. We'll probably hear some of that interesting stuff from Hayden Dean over there. Some paper rock boogie or whatever he says every time it's all 2s across the board. 2, 2, and 2. Paper rock boogie, he says. Here comes the pitch. That ball's driven right up toward the gap. Hayden Dean makes a heck of a play. He dives and stretches out and catches it as it skips off the turf. But unfortunately, where he caught it at, there was no way, as he was laid out, that he was going to be able to throw it back across his body from the turf. So that's going to give a single to Bernal. There was nobody on base, so it's 3-1 Eunice here. We've got Bernal standing on first base, so Estancia with a runner on first. Here comes the pitch, and that ball's hit to the same place. And a great play there by Zeke Benton, who stretches out, makes the stop, and then from his belly flips it up to second base to Dean for the out, and that gets Eunice out of the inning, but not before Estancia scores a run. It's 3-1 here, Eunice in the lead as we move into the bottom of the third. You're listening to Eunice Cardinal Baseball on the Knollmark Digital Broadcast Network. You can go on YouTube and search Eunice Sports, or we're also on Cool 95. Let's send it back to the station for 30 seconds and a word from our sponsor. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the inning. He takes the sign, kicks and fires. Pierce drives that ball high over the first baseman. Is it going to get out of play? It does. It lands in the just inside the screen dugout for the Estancia Bears. So it looks like we've lost our signal again. As far as our live stream, it is still going, but I'm going to try to get this up and running on the radio broadcast again. So I have pushed enter. We'll see if it gets us up and running. It looks like we're up and running. So we apologize. Some technical difficulties. That's the second time it's kicked us off today. Pierce is staying alive here. It's no balls, 2 strikes here to Pierce. He's the leadoff batter of this third inning here in the bottom of the third for the Eunice Cardinals. So it's 0-2 to Pierce, the catcher and slugger, the right-handed junior. Number 13, lucky 13, he's in that right-handed batter's box and he's ready. Montoya, the pitcher for Estancia, has switched over and he's going to pitch from the stretch even with nobody on base. That ball's hit high over the pitcher. He's going to make the play right in front of the mound. High pop fly right up to the pitcher, and that'll send Pierce back to the dugout for the out. That'll bring up Garrett Tucker, who I call Big Tucker. He's our first baseman for the Eunice Cardinals this year. He's going to step into that right-handed batter's box. Number 19, he's the brother of who I call Little Tucker, who's our pitcher today. Garrett steps in. He's ready. Montoya, the pitcher for Estancia, takes the sign. He kicks and fires high and outside for ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes here to Big Tucker. Big Tucker looks over at Coach Andrew Reynolds. Reynolds gives him the sign. He's ready. He steps into the box. Montoya, the pitcher, looks down at our Mijo, the catcher for Estancia. He takes the sign and he's ready. Here comes the pitch, and it is outside, just about 5 or 6 feet outside the plate for ball number 2. 2 balls, no strikes, 1 out here to Tucker, the first baseman for the Cardinals. 2-0, 1 out. Montoya's ready. He takes the sign, kicks and fires. That ball skips off the ground, off the shin guard of our Mijo, the catcher, for ball 3. So 3 balls, no strikes. The umpire was very thankful for our Mijo on that one, because had it not been for him stopping it, he'd have probably got one in the shin. 3 balls, no strikes, 1 out. 3-1. Eunice in the lead here. We're in the bottom of the third. Montoya's ready. He kicks and fires, and that ball's going to be high and outside for ball 4. So 4 straight pitches will send Tucker over to first. Big Tucker on first. Little brother is at the plate. If little brother don't do something, Big Tucker's liable to put a knot on his head when he gets home. So Garrett Tucker standing on first. Chance Tucker steps into the right-handed batter's box. Eunice up 3-1, 1 out. Big Tucker starts his lead. He's got a big one. He's inching out there. A little bit more and a little bit more. The first baseman trying to hold him on. That ball's hit, driven right over the head of the second baseman, and now you're going to have a Tucker-Tucker combo at first and second. And that'll bring Zeke Benton, the shortstop, up to the plate. And they're going to have a courtesy runner come in the form of Jonathan, the Bullet Caballero. Little Tucker's going to jog on over. He's the pitcher. They don't want to wear him out there on the bases. So we've got the Bullet, Jonathan Caballero, standing on first. The only thing slowing him down and the only thing between him and home is Big Tucker standing on second. Zeke Benton at the plate. The umpire steps out, and he is adjusting his headgear, and now he's giving it the unicorn sign. I don't know what that means, but he's ready. He steps in. He kneels down behind our Mijo, the Estancia catcher. Benton is in the right-handed batter's box. We've got runners at first and second. Montoya's ready. He takes the sign, kicks and fires. That ball's driven high and foul back into the parking lot. That'll put a good dent in somebody's ride. So 3-1 in favor of Eunice here as we're waiting on a ball to come back into play. Montoya's got one now, and he is ready. Caballero starts to lead off first. Big Tucker leads off second. They're not holding Caballero at first, but they are trying to hold Big Tucker at second. Here comes the pitch, and that ball's high and inside for ball number 1. So now we've got a lot of ones on the board. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 run for Estancia, and number 10, Benton, in the right-handed batter's box. I don't believe that calls for any paper rock boogies or whatever, but it sure sounds good. So Benton is ready. He's in the box. That ball is hit high and foul, and I think it's going to get into the screen. It does. So it is back onto the netting here above us. So 1 ball, 2 strikes after 2 foul balls from Benton. Number 10, the junior, and shortstop today. So Montoya's got another ball. They've thrown him one out there. He's ready. He steps back onto the mound. Runners at first and second. It's a 1 ball, 2 strike count with 1 out. Eunice up 3-1. He takes the sign, kicks and fires. That ball's driven into right center field. It's going to be close. It gets down, and here come runners. We've got one coming around third. He's headed home. The pitcher cuts the ball at the mound, but we score a run as Big Tucker crosses home plate. So a stand-up double by Benton. We've now got the Bullet, Caballero, standing on third. Marcos Elvato Tucero will step up into the right-handed batter's box. He's ready. Benton, another speedster at second, so we've got some good base runners out there. 1 out here. Eunice up 4-1 after that last scored run. Here comes the pitch from Montoya. It's a big breaking ball that gets back in there. Had Tucero on his heels because it started off at him, then broke back over the plate. So that'll be no balls, 1 strike. 1 out. We're in the bottom of the third. Eunice up 4-1. Tucero's ready. Benton leads off big at second. Caballero with the big lead at third. Here comes the pitch, and it's low and outside. The catcher, Armijo, does a really good job of diving out there and staying in front of that one, or we would have had the Bullet coming across home plate. The Bullet's back on third. Benton with the big lead off second. I don't think he ever even went back to second. He's just standing over there beside the shortstop talking. Here comes the pitch. That ball's high and inside. Tucero looked like he was the Matrix there. He was slowly bending over backwards like he thought he might want to move, but he'd really like to get hit and go to first, and he wasn't real sure exactly what he wanted to do. But that ends up being ball 2. So 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. It's a 4-1 game here in Eunice, bottom of the third. Tucero's back in the box. He's ready. Montoya takes the sign. He's going to throw it toward third. Jonathan, the Bullet Caballero, easily steps back over to third. Montoya, at that point, had no chance at the Bullet. Tucero steps back into that right-handed batter's box. He's ready. Montoya takes a look at his catcher, Armijo. He's got the sign. He's going to kick and fire, and that ball's low and outside, skipped up off the brown turf. We've mentioned it before here. Eunice has got a really nice baseball facility. They have very little dirt. It's just brown AstroTurf all around home plate and around the bases. The only dirt is the mound. That ball skipped off that brown turf. The catcher did a really good job of staying in front of it, avoiding Eunice scoring another run. Tucero's back in the box with a 3-1 count. He's ready. Here comes the pitch. That ball's driven right through second base. It looked like it went between the legs of the pitcher. It's going to score 2 runs. And so a stand-up single from Tucero scores 2 runs. So a 2 RBI single from Tucero. Elvato, he's standing on first now. That's going to bring number 2, Gio, the umpire, Chacon to the plate. The number 8 batter and center fielder. Tucero on first. We've got 1 out. Eunice now leads 6-1 here in the bottom of the third. Tucero with a big lead. He's stretching out there. Chacon takes pitch 1 for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out. Number 2, Gio Chacon, the right-handed batter, is in the right-handed batter's box. He stands way at the back of that box on the line and way inside crowding the plate. Montoya on the mound, rocks and fires. That ball's driven foul. It actually skipped off the shoe of Chacon, so he fouled it down into his own foot. If I did that, I'd be crippled for the next month. He did it and stood there like nothing. So he may be tougher than me for sure. So Gio Chacon steps back into that right-handed batter's box. It's 1-1-1, paper rockin' boogies or whatever Dean says over there. Only 2-2s, I'm sorry. That ball skips right over the head of Chacon. And that's going to make it 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out to number 2. So if we get another strike here, it looks like we've got a timeout. The coach for Estancia wants to talk about it. He's going to walk out to the mound. All of the Estancia players are also headed for the mound. Once again, while we're discussing things, we want to mention our Lady Cardinals. They were in the semifinals today playing against number 1 ranked Tularosa in Tularosa. They jumped out to a 2-0 early lead, held on to that lead, I believe, until the 3rd inning, and then the onslaught started from the number 1 ranked powerhouse Tularosa Wildcats, and they went on to win that ball game fairly big. So here at Eunice Cardinal Stadium, similar to yesterday, we've got some excitement in the crowd. We have got the chicken dance going. And so looks like we're going to have a pitch and change. Let's send it back to the station for 30 seconds for a word from our sponsors. You're listening to Eunice Cardinal Radio on Cool 95, on Eunice Sports YouTube, and on HobbsAmerica.com.
You're clear.
Woo-hoo.
15. 5. 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to beautiful Eunice, New Mexico. I'm Jimmy Jones, and with me is Ovi Ontiveros as we are covering the 2A State New Mexico Baseball Championship Tournament. This is the semifinal game between the Eunice Cardinals as they host the Estancia Bears. Oh, any thoughts so far on today's game?
Nothing really. It's been kind of a slow game.
Not a whole lot of real exciting stuff, but as you look out there at the scoreboard, it's 6-1.
You can't really complain.
Some of the most exciting things I've seen is the chicken dance going on in the bleachers. I'm waiting to see Hayden Dean do a little chicken dance up here in the booth, and maybe even Lynn White. I'm thinking any moment Lynn White's going to jump up and start the chicken dance. But anyway, we've got some excitement here going on in the booth. It's 6-1 out there on the field. Eunice leading this game after scoring 2 runs in the bottom of the first, 1 run in the bottom of the second, and 3 runs here in the bottom of the third, which is where we're currently at. We've got 1 out. We've got a 2-1 count here as we made this pitcher change, and we have got Gio Chacon standing in the right-handed batter's box, getting ready to start here. Marcus Tercero, the junior, El Vato, he's standing on first base. And he's ready to go. The umpire is making some adjustments on his little sheet that he's got in his pocket. I guess just updating all the player positions, as we did have some movement out there in the field as far as where everybody's at. So he's making those notes. And once that happens, we should be ready to go. It looks like the pitcher, the new pitcher, is going to be Zamora. That is going to be Jay Zamora. I was trying to look at Max Preps and see if I can get an idea of what his first name. Jake Zamora, the senior, says here he plays pitcher and shortstop most of the time. So Jake Zamora steps in. His first pitch is swung on and missed by Chacon, and that evens up the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes to number 2. And then we got some paper rock boogie going on over by Dean and the announcer's booth. So I guess anytime you have 2-2-2, you got a paper rock boogie it here. And we've got Tercero with a big lead over at first. Number 2, Chacon in the right-handed batter's box. Here comes the pitch, and it's right down the middle. Chacon freezes, and that will be strike 3. Sean Stinson will now step up to the plate, the number 9 hitter for these Cardinals. He's playing left field. So Stinson steps up to the plate. Eunice now has 2 outs. Tercero on first. After a pitch and change here in the middle of the last count, Zamora, Jake Zamora, the senior, is on the mound. Stinson is ready. Zamora takes the sign. He fires that ball high for ball 1. Zamora looks like he has a little more oomph on his pitches. He throws it a little harder than Montoya did. We'll see if that changes the way these Cardinals are able to pick up the baseball or not. So Zamora's back on the mound. He's ready. He takes the sign. He kicks and fires. That ball's inside, and it almost hit Stinson in the face. It looked like at the last second he got his shoulder up, and he took it square in the shoulder. So that'll move Tercero over to second. Stinson standing on first. Hayden Dean, the senior, number 7. Your cousin and mine, standing in the right-handed batter's box. We've got 2 outs here. We're in the bottom of the 3rd. We've scored 3. Dean's ready. Here comes the pitch. That ball looked from here like it was outside, but it was called strike 1. So Zamora working that corner for strike 1. So it's 0-1 here to Dean. Dean's back in the box, the senior, on his way to play college football next year. Runners at first and second. Here comes the pitch. That ball's fouled back into the parking lot. Once again, if you've got dents, Dean's your man. He's going to step back into the right-handed batter's box. They fire a new ball out to Zamora, the pitcher. We've got Stinson on first. Tercero on second. It's an 0-2 count with 2 outs. Eunice up 6-1. Here comes the pitch from Zamora. That ball's driven foul over into the parking lot again. Dean does not like you parking right over here to the first base side of our stadium. I see another Dean walking down there to sit on the front row, probably cheering on the Cuz. Well, yeah, I guess he's a Dean. He's a Jones. Those Joneses, they're pretty good people too. But so it's 0-2. 2 outs. Here comes the pitch, and that ball's hit over toward the second baseman. Second baseman fields it cleanly, but then he throws it bad. That's going to score a run. Dean heads over to second. Stinson rounds third. Dean is into second after the error from the second baseman. We score a run there. That makes it 7-1 in favor of Eunice. So it was a routine ground ball to the second baseman. He fielded it really cleanly, then picked it up real slowly, threw it over to first, but as he did, he threw it into the turf in front of the first baseman, and it skipped up over his head all the way over toward the dugout. So that scored a run. It's got now Dean on second, Stinson on third, and Jorge Ontiveros, who is number 1 in our hearts, steps up to the right-handed batter's box. That ball is low and outside for ball 1. Catcher Armijo did a really good job again of saving a run right there, because Stinson would have been home if that ball gets past him. So Zamora, the second pitcher here for Estancia, is on the mound. He's ready. Eunice up 7-1. It's 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs to Jorge Ontiveros. Ontiveros fouls that one back for strike 1. So 1 ball, 1 strike here to Jorge El Chapo Ontiveros. He is ready. He steps into that right-handed batter's box. He's ready to deliver this product right out there into the outfield. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, 7-1. That ball, he swings at it, and it goes right off his knuckles for foul ball strike 2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the third. Eunice has put up 4 runs here in the bottom of the third. 2 runs in the bottom of the first, 1 in the bottom of the second. That makes it 7-1 Eunice. Jorge chokes up on the bat. He's ready. He's going to be slapping at it. And that ball is outside for ball number 2. So we've got 2s, a lot of 2s on the board. We've got Hayden Dean over here talking about all these paper rocks and boogies. He's shaking his little pretend hat over there, so he's ready. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Ontiveros, number 2-4. Number 1 in our hearts, he's ready. Here comes the pitch. That ball's hit high and foul, out of play over near the first base dugout. So that's going to keep it at 2-2-2. 2-2-2 to number 2-4. To number 2, Eunice. He steps into the right-handed batter's box. He's ready. Zamora takes a look at his catcher. He likes the sign, shakes his head yes. He steps, kicks, and fires. That ball's driven hard. It's going to be foul. Man, he hit it hard. Hit it over toward the field house. Ontiveros hit that ball solid. If he could straighten that one out, it would be a really good day for these Cardinals. So 7-1 here. Eunice leads. We've still got a lot of 2s on the board. We got the paper rock boogie going. Ontiveros is in that right-handed batter's box. He's ready. He slaps at that one, and that one fouls back again right over the top of our heads. Ontiveros staying alive. He's making Jake Zamora work here. It's 2-2-2 again to number 2-4. Ontiveros really choked up now. It looks like he's got about 3-4 inches sticking out the bottom of his hands. He's trying to stay alive. Done a good job so far. Here comes a pitch from Zamora, and that ball's fouled right back over our heads.
Another one.
So Ontiveros staying alive.
They better run out of baseballs.
El Chapo, just like El Chapo, the real El Chapo, he stayed alive. Worked his way out of a lot of pinches. Ontiveros doing the same thing here. He's ready. Zamora takes the sign, kicks, fires. That ball's hit. It's a high bouncer over toward the pitcher. Pitcher tries to throw it home. Stinson scores. Dean scores. Ontiveros on his way to second. So a high bouncer by Ontiveros. He hit that ball. It hit about a foot out in front of the plate and then went really high. Ontiveros was boogieing down the first base line. The pitcher grabbed the ball, Zamora, and he tried to fire it home sidearm to the catcher, and the ball skipped all the way to the backstop, scoring 2 runs. Ontiveros now on second. Eunice leads 9-1.
Weird decision by that pitcher there.
Yeah,
I don't know why he
should have thrown it over to first.
Yeah, 2 outs. And
yeah, so who do we have up now? Big Tucker?
Conor.
Oh,
Conor
okay.
Pierce.
Conor Pierce, and he's went back to the other bat. I mentioned the last time he was up, he had changed bats. He has now went back. Pierce has went to that pink bat that he had used most of the year. So it's no balls, 1 strike here, 2 outs. Pierce, who most of the season was one heck of a slugger, he's back in that right-handed batter's box. Ontiveros with a big lead at second, 2 outs. Here comes the pitch. That ball's high and outside for ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, 9-1 Eunice. Conor Pierce, the number 3 hitter for these Cardinals. Most of the year, I would say that he batted more like a cleanup batter, but in that 3 spot. He's ready. He's got the old bat back. Here comes the pitch. That ball swung on and missed. Strike 2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Conor Pierce, number 13. He's the catcher. Good job this year. Struggled his last couple of at-bats, but we'll see how this at-bat plays out here for Pierce. He's ready. Zamora takes the sign, kicks and delivers. That ball's hit high and foul over toward the first base dugout. It's out of play. So 1 ball, 2 strikes to Pierce, 2 outs. Pierce is already back in the batter's box. He's ready. Taking him a couple of practice cuts. Zamora steps on the hill. He's ready too. The senior, Jake Zamora, takes a sign from Armijo, the catcher. He kicks and delivers. That ball's hit high and foul over into the parking lot. So if you've got a dent on your car, it might not be Dean. It might be Pierce.
Or Ontiveros.
Or Ontiveros.
Or Dean.
Yeah. Yeah. So take your pick. One of those guys dinged your car. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 9-1 Eunice. Pierce is ready. Zamora, the pitcher for the Bears, is ready. He kicks and fires. That ball. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That was interesting. It looked like the ball hit the, I don't know if you call that the heel of the bat. And
I thought it hit his arm.
I did too. And then he took off running, and it was a fly ball just past the home plate. The pitcher comes running in and makes a really nice catch. That'll get Estancia out of the inning, but not before Eunice puts up 6. It's 9-1 Eunice here in the state semifinal baseball game. You're listening to Eunice Cardinal Baseball on the Knollmark Digital Broadcast Network, Cool 95, and YouTube on Eunice Sports. I'll send it back to the station for 30 seconds for a word from our sponsors.
15. 5. 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to beautiful Eunice, New Mexico. We're the number 2 ranked or number 2 seeded. The Eunice Cardinals are hosting the semifinals of the 2A New Mexico State Baseball Tournament and the Estancia Bears. Eunice comes into this game with a 14-4 record. Estancia comes in with a shortened season due to the pandemic of a 5-4 record. And here in this game so far, Eunice scored 2 runs in the first, 1 run in the second, and 6 in the bottom of the third. Estancia was held scoreless the first 2 innings. They did pick up a run on a fielder's choice there in the third. It is 9-1 in favor of Eunice as we get ready to start the 4th inning here. On the mound for this game so far, we've had Chance Tucker, who's done a really good job for the Cardinals so far. He's the only pitcher that we've seen. For Estancia, they've had Zamora now. They had Montoya start off on the mound. So we're at the number 3 batter for these Estancia Bears. Candelas. Candelas steps into the right-handed batter's box and takes ball number 1. So 1 ball, no strikes here to Candelas. He's the first baseman for these Bears. That ball's chopped over toward the third baseman. Jorge Ontiveros comes up firing. He fires it over to Garrett Tucker, who stretches out and makes the play. That'll be out number 1 as the third batter, Candelas, the number 3 batter, he's the first batter of that inning, goes down chopper to Jorge Ontiveros. So that'll bring up number 6, Wetterman. Wetterman steps into that right-handed batter's box. He's the cleanup batter. He's playing third base for the Bears. He swings and misses at strike number 1. So Wetterman, it's Clayton Wetterman. He's a sophomore. He's a tall drink of water. He's out there in that right-handed batter's box, and he wanted that ball. It was a little bit outside, but he leaned for it and then didn't swing. So 1 ball, 1 strike now, 1 out to number 6, Wetterman. Here comes the next pitch, and that pitch is right in that same spot, which looks like it's going to be a little outside. So 2 balls, 1 strike to Wetterman. Had a little miscue there as we returned the ball back to the pitcher. It went all the way to center field. Nobody on base, though. So Little Tucker gets the ball back. He heads over to the mound, and he is ready. Conor Pierce behind home plate, kneels down. Wetterman takes ball number 3. So it's going to be a 3-1 count here to Wetterman. Little Tucker takes his hat off, shakes his blonde locks a while, puts his hat back on, and he's ready. He takes the sign, kicks and fires low and outside for ball number 4. That'll send Wetterman over to first. The the number 2 batter in this inning for Estancia, now standing at first base. That'll bring Moran, number 8, up to the plate for Estancia, the right-handed batter. Tucker rocks and fires. That ball's hit hard, foul ball down the third base line for strike number 1. Wetterman was headed towards second, but looked like he waited until that contact was made. I would have thought that Estancia would have learned their lesson earlier. Usually Pierce is not a very easy person to steal bases on, for sure. So Pierce kneels down behind home plate. He's ready. Tucker takes the sign. He kicks and fires a big breaking ball. Skips off the turf out in front of home plate. That's going to make it 1 ball, 1 strike. Is that correct?
Yes.
And 1 out. 9-1 Eunice. We're in the top of the 4th. Tucker's already ready. He's working quick from the mound. He fires it back over toward first. Tucker to Tucker combo there. Big Tucker tries to apply the tag, but not before Wetterman, who took 1 step from his 15-foot leadoff, and he was back on first. Little Tucker fires this pitch right down the middle, and our ump here, and I'm not bashing him at all because he's been solid and consistent with it, but he does not like anything at the knees or anywhere close. That is a low pitch. So that's 2 balls, 1 strike. Here comes the next pitch. And that one must have been in that same area. So that's 3 balls, 1 strike. Tucker's waving his arms around and slapping himself in the head. He does not like the fact that those pitches aren't being called strikes. So 3 balls, 1 strike here. Here comes the next pitch, and that one he must have brought it up a little bit because that's a called strike.
That looked like the almost exact same pitch as those
yeah,
last 2.
it's like the last 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last 3 pitches in a row were in the same spot. That one was called a strike. So 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Tucker on the hill. That ball's driven toward the shortstop. The shortstop misplays it, trying to turn 2. Zeke struggled with that one. He was trying to catch it on the run so he could step on second and fire it toward first. He misplayed it. So all the base runners reached safely. So with 1 out, Estancia will have runners at first and second. Drew Reynolds decides he wants to talk about it. The coach for these Eunice Cardinals is going to step out on the mound. So he's asking his pitcher some questions out there, but he's got the whole infield standing around the mound, so they're all out there visiting. So let's see what we're going to do here. Looks like Little Tucker's already back on the rubber. So I'm assuming that Coach Reynolds asked him if he wanted to keep on going or what he wanted to do, because he turned around and walked away and walked right back up on the rubber. So with that said, everybody's headed back to their position. Runners at first and second. 2 outs. Eunice up 9-1. And we'll have A.Z. Lucero, the second baseman for Estancia. He's a right-hander as well. He's going to step into the right-handed batter's box. Everybody's back in position and ready to go. Tucker's on the mound, pitching from the stretch. He takes a look at Pierce, takes a sign, fires that ball low for ball 1. So that ball looked like a ball to me there. That was definitely a low pitch. I get it completely. So 1 ball, no strikes. Now it's 9-1 here in favor of Eunice, but Estancia has got 2 runners on here. We're in the top of the 4th. Here comes the pitch. That ball swung on and fouled off. So 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out to number 10. Estancia scored 1, so lots of 1s up there on the scoreboard again. But only 2s get the paper rock boogie. I'm learning. All right. Here in Eunice, you got to know all these little superstitious things in the box when you're here. So Little Tucker's on the mound. He's ready. Here comes the pitch. That ball skips in front of the catcher for ball number 2. 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. AZ Lucero, the second baseman for these Estancia Bears, in the right-hander batter's box, and he's ready. They fire back over toward first. The runner dives back in there safely. So they tried the Tucker to Tucker connection, Tucker the pitcher to Tucker the first baseman. They had a first base runner with a big lead. Here comes the next pitch, and that ball is inside, and AZ Lucero jumps out of the way. If I was on his team, I'd have been telling him, why didn't you take that one? But he moved he showed his cat-like reflexes. 3 balls, 1 strike, and that ball's low and outside, and he's headed for first. So that'll load the bases here for Estancia. 1 out. That'll bring up number 4, Montoya. He was the first pitcher of the game for Estancia. Looks like we've got a discussion. We've got a discussion on the field. We've got the ump standing out in between home plate and third base. Looks like they're bringing number 10, Lucero, back to the plate. It looks like they're going to call a balk on the pitcher on that last pitch. So they advance the runners, but they bring the batter back with a 3-1 count, 1 out. Tucker's already kicking and firing again, and he throws that ball low and outside, and we end up with the same result. So the bases are now loaded again. It's a 9-1 game, bases loaded here, as the Estancia Bears are threatening here in the top of the 4th. That's going to bring Montoya back to home plate. Bases loaded. Tucker throws that one low and outside. Little Tucker on the mound, starting to show some signs of fatigue for the Cardinals. We're in the 4th. He fires that one right down the middle, though. Ooh, Tucker waves his arms around. He did not like that one again for no call. So that's 2 balls, no strikes, 1 out. And that ball's in the same place, called strike. So 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Tucker wasted no time. He's already back on the mound kicking, and here comes the pitch. And that's that one that's in the spot. So that's low. So that's 3 balls, 1 strike. Another ball would send a run home here. That ball swung on and hit high over the head of the third baseman. It's going to be caught by the shortstop for out number 2. So a good play there by Benton. He called off Jorge Ontiveros. Zeke Benton steps in behind him and makes that catch for the 2nd out of the inning. And if they could pick up 1 more here, it would be huge. It looks like Conor Pierce is going to call in the entire infield to the plate, or to the mound. They're going to discuss exactly what they want to do here. Make sure everybody understands that there are 2 outs. They can step on any base. They just need to get an out here to keep Estancia from scoring a run here in the top of the 4th. So number 15, Hayden Boyle, the sophomore, he's the DH, steps into the right-handed batter's box, and he takes ball 1. It's that same area of the strike zone, or I guess ball zone, that same pitch. That ball's hit and fouled off the foot, and Pierce comes out and slides out there to grab that foul ball. Good hustle there out from behind the plate by Pierce. So a 9-1 game here in the top of the 4th. Chance Tucker on the mound, been up there the whole game. Conor Pierce behind home plate. It's a 1-1 count. We've got 2 outs. The bases are loaded, and that ball's called strike 2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Tucker could get himself out of a big pinch right here with a good pitch. Here comes the pitch. That ball's high and outside for ball 2. So now we've got the Paper Rock Boogie. Paper Rock Boogie is what they say up here in the Eunice booth. 2-2-2. Here comes the pitch. And it swung on and missed, and that gets the Eunice Cardinals out of a pinch there as the bases were loaded, but Estancia is unable to score. It's going to remain 9-1 as we move into the bottom of the 4th. You're listening to Eunice Cardinal Baseball on the Knollmark Digital Broadcast Network on One Radio Square, Cool 95, and on YouTube, Eunice Sports. We'll send it back to our station for a word from our sponsors. 30 seconds.
Okay. Five. 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back to the New Mexico Activities Association 2A State Baseball Tournament semifinal game as the number 2 seeded Eunice Cardinals are hosting the number 6 seed Estancia Bears here. Eunice with a 9-1 lead here as we move into the bottom of the 4th. Any thoughts so far,
Great side for the Cardinals on both sides. You know, we've had pretty good hitting, and until now, Chance has been pitching really good, and they got out of that little
Got out of a bind.
bind right there. It was bases loaded, and it seemed like Chance got a little tired, but luckily he got it out of there.
Well, that'll bring Garrett Tucker, the cleanup batter and first baseman. He'll be the leadoff batter this inning as we're here in the bottom of the 4th. Garrett Tucker, Eunice's typical cleanup batter, number 4 man. He steps up in here. He wears number 19 on his jersey. Playing first base today, he's in the right-handed batter's box, and he is ready. Here comes the pitch, and he takes a huge swing, but he misses for strike number 1. So Zamora, Jake Zamora, is on the hill for the Estancia Bears, and he's done a decent job since he stepped up on the hill. He kicks and fires. That ball's driven over into the parking lot, so now you can add Tucker to the list if you have a ding on your car. There's a good list of Cardinals that are dinging them cars up out there. So that makes it an 0-2 count for Big Tucker. He steps into the right-handed batter's box, facing Jake Zamora, pitcher for these Bears. Our Mijo is catching for the Bears. Here comes that pitch, and it's a high fly ball to deep left field. It may be. It could be. Holy cow. It is out of here. What a drive there by Big Tucker. Garrett Tucker smashes one out into the cow patties out there in that pasture past left field. Great piece of hitting there by Garrett Tucker as he was down 0-2, and it didn't slow his swing down at all. He smashes it over the left field fence to give Eunice a 10-1 lead. What'd you think about that shot?
Man, what a bomb. Woo. It was a deep, deep bomb.
Man, he hit it a long ways.
Yeah.
I have seen some home runs this year over that wall over there. They're some of the longest ones I've ever seen. So with that, we'll bring the pitcher up here to the plate, the right-hander, Little Tucker, Chance Tucker, who's pitching for us today. He steps into that right-handed batter's box. Eunice up 10-1. We're in the bottom of the 4th. Chance Tucker's ready. Here comes the pitch. That ball almost hits him for ball number 1. 1 ball, no strikes, no outs here. After the bomb from Garrett Tucker over the left field wall. Chance Tucker now steps into the right-handed batter's box with a 1-0 count. He's ready. Here comes Zamora's pitch. That ball swung on and missed for strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike here to Chance Tucker. We've got a pitcher-on-pitcher battle going here as Chance Tucker's pitching for Eunice today. He's facing Jake Zamora, the pitcher for the Estancia Bears. It's a 1-1 count. So here comes the pitch. That ball swung on and missed. Looked like it was tipped off, but the catcher caught it for strike number 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes here to Chance Tucker. He could help his cause by tacking on another run here. He hit the wall in the air yesterday with a shot into left center in that deep corner out there. He's ready. Here comes Zamora's pitch. That ball swung on and missed for strike 3. It looks like he tipped it, but it was caught again. So 2 of those in a row equals strike 3. Little Tucker takes the slow stroll back to the third base dugout. That'll bring Zeke Benton, the shortstop for these Cardinals and number 6 hitter. That'll bring him up to the plate. Eunice now with 1 out. Benton in the right-handed batter's box. He's ready. The Zamora pitching for Estancia. Fires that one in there. Benton swings and misses for strike 1. So Zeke Benton, who pitched a heck of a ball game yesterday in the win over Capitan. He's playing shortstop today. He's the right-handed batter. He's by 0-1. He swings at that one and misses for strike 2. So he's down 0-2. Once again, yesterday he had a no-hitter going in all the way to the last inning, and I mentioned it, and as soon as I mentioned it, a player reached on a fielding error. It was the first time anybody had been on base the entire game, so I almost got tarred and feathered out here. But he's back in there. He's ready, and he takes that ball for strike number 3. So called strike 3 on Benton. Benton thought it was inside. The ump didn't agree. So 3 strikes for Benton. Benton sets down. And here comes Marcus Tercero. Elvato steps in to the right-handed batter's box. He's ready. 2 outs. The first pitch to Tercero. The kick. Fires it. He swings and tips it back right over toward us for strike number 1. So 0-1 to Elvato. Marcos Tercero. The right-handed junior. Eunice with a 10-1 lead here. We're in the 4th, the bottom of the 4th. Nobody on. 2 outs. A home run this inning earlier by Garrett Tucker. And that ball's going to be outside, I believe, for ball 1. So 1 ball, 1 strike to Tercero. Number 22. He steps into that right-handed batter's box, and he is ready. Zamora, the pitcher for Estancia, steps, kicks, and fires. That ball swung on and driven toward deep right center field.
Oh.
A diving catch. Wow.
Wow.
A diving catch there by the center fielder. That's going to be Bernal, who comes running, lays out, and makes an amazing catch there. Tercero with a great piece of hitting, but an even better catch by the center fielder. That gets Estancia out of the inning, but not before Eunice picks up another run. It's 10-1 here as we move into the 5th. Eunice is up. You're listening to Eunice Cardinal Baseball on the Nolemark Digital Broadcast Network on HobbsAmerica.com. Click on the Cardinal or go to YouTube and search Eunice Sports. We'll send it back to the station for a word from our sponsors for 30 seconds.
Right there. Two, one, go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to beautiful Eunice, New Mexico, home of the 17-time state champion Eunice Cardinals, who are in pursuit of number 18. 18 is elusive. It is hiding from these Cardinals, but they are doing work trying to head that direction. Eunice currently up 10-1 as we move into the top of the 5th inning. The winner of this game would travel to Albuquerque to face number 1 seeded Texaco in a state championship matchup. You definitely don't want to count your chickens before they hatch, but if Eunice and Texaco face off again, it seems like they've done that a lot lately in all sports. So here comes the first pitch of the inning. It's hit over toward Hayden Dean, who makes a play, fires it over to Garrett Tucker at first for out number 1. That was Astorga, the right fielder, who was up batting. He hit it over to Dean. Dean scooped it up, fired it over to Garrett Tucker, who just hit a home run. And that was out number 1. So we're now back to the top of the lineup for these Estancia Bears. There's 1 out here. We're in the top of the 5th. Bernal, who just made that great diving catch in center field, takes ball number 1. We've still got Chance Tucker on the hill for Eunice. So 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out here. And he fires that one in there for strike number 1. So that evens it up and puts a bunch of 1s up on the board. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Bernal in that right-handed batter's box is ready, the center fielder. He takes that ball, he swings at it right down the middle for strike number 2. Great pitch there by Tucker. That's one of the better pitches I've seen him throw in the last probably 10 or 15 of his pitches. That one looked good. That ball is check swinged out, and it is strike number 3. So that was a good-looking breaking ball by Tucker there to get the strikeout on Bernal. So that's the first 2 batters have went down. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. That'll bring up Zamora, the pitcher, Jake Zamora. He's currently pitching for these Estancia Bears. Here comes the first pitch to him, and it is outside. As we just heard Mr. Heath Dean say, it was just a bit outside for ball number 1. 1 ball, no strikes here. 2 outs, 10-1 Eunice. We're in the top of the 5th. Zamora's ready. Here comes the pitch, and that one's just a little bit less outside, but it's still outside. So 2 balls, no strikes. If we could get 2 good strikes here, we'd be back into Paper Rock Boogie again. Here comes the pitch, and it is low and outside. So there will be no Paper Rock Boogie on this batter. So 3 balls, no strikes here. 2 outs. Zamora, the right-hander, is in the batter's box. And that ball must have been low for ball number 4. So that'll send Zamora, the pitcher, over to first base. And we'll bring up the first baseman, typical number 3 hitter, Candelas. He steps up here into the right-handed batter's box. It's Ari Candelas is what Max Prep says. Says he pitches and plays first base. He's a junior. Here comes the first pitch to him, and I thought it got him, but
it was
man,
close.
He did some fancy footwork there and some reverse limbo to get out of the way of that one. It almost looked like a cartoon movement that he put on there, but he avoided getting hit. He swings at that one and misses. So that'll be an even count now. 1 ball, 1 strike. And as Pierce catches that ball, he fires it over to Tucker at first base. And Zamora slides back in just under the tag. So Pierce showing that cannon from the home plate. Tucker's ready. Chance Tucker on the mound. He kicks and fires, and that ball's going to be slightly outside for ball number 2. So 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs here. We're in the top of the 5th. Eunice leads 10-1. Candelas, the first baseman, junior, he's at the plate. Here comes the pitch, and that ball's high and outside for ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs, 10-1 game. We're in the semifinals of the 2A state baseball tournament. Eunice with a chance here to get back to the championship game to face their rival Texaco, who's waiting on the winner of this game. And that ball works the corner there. Nice little framing work there by Pierce to pull it back in, and that makes it a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Tucker on the hill. He takes a look at Pierce. He likes the sign, but then he flips it toward his brother Tucker on first. And it looks like they've called a balk. So that'll move Zamora over to second. That's the second balk they've called on Tucker today. This one advances a runner into scoring position here for the Estancia Bears. Tucker not happy with himself. His head's bobbing up and down and his mouth's moving. I can't tell what he's saying, but I'm sure it's not good. Here comes the pitch. That ball's hit over toward the shortstop. Shortstop backhands it, fires it over toward first. It skips past the first baseman, and Estancia is going to score a run on the error there from Zeke Benton. Zeke Benton all season long has been extremely solid. He has struggled a little bit today out there at that shortstop position. So an error there on Benton on the throw leads to a run scored. That makes it 10-2. We've got 2 outs now. They've got their first baseman standing over on first. Number 6, Wetterman, steps into the right-handed batter's box and takes strike 1. Chance Tucker on the hill. Wetterman ready. Here comes the pitch. It's hit right back toward Tucker. Oh, my goodness, and Zeke Benton comes across, makes a heck of a run at the play, but was unable to handle it. He kind of booted it, and so that's going to put runners at first and second on another error there in the field from the Cardinals. So we just need an out here with runners at first and second. Number 8, Roman Moran, the junior, steps into the right-handed batter's box. There's a big breaking ball in there for strike number 1. No balls, 1 strike here. Coach Reynolds leaving Chance Tucker on the mound, just trying to let him work his way out of this deal. We're in the 5th, top of the 5th. Eunice up 10-2. There's another big breaking ball that looks pretty in there for strike number 2. So no balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs to number 8, Roman Moran. He steps into that right-handed batter's box. Tucker's already ready. He's like, let's not wait any longer. Runners at first and second for the Estancia Bears. Here comes the pitch from Tucker. And it's slightly outside for ball number 1. So 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, a 10-2 lead for the Eunice Cardinals. We're in the top of the 5th. 1 run did score here on an error from Eunice. Moran is ready. He's in that right-handed batter's box. Chance Tucker takes the sign from Conor Pierce. He kicks and fires, and that's a good-looking pitch for strike 3. Ring him up, set him down, send him out to the field to play some baseball. It is now 10-2. Tucker gets himself out of that inning with a great pitch there for strike number 3. You're listening to Eunice Cardinal Baseball on the Knowmark Digital Broadcast Network, on YouTube under Eunice Sports, or on Cool 95. We'll send it back to the station for a word from our sponsor in 30 seconds.
You're clear. Three, two, one, go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to beautiful Eunice Stadium here as your Eunice Cardinals are hosting the Estancia Bears in the semifinals of the 2A state baseball tournament here. The winner of this game will go to Albuquerque on Friday to face number 1 seeded Texaco for a state championship and bragging rights of the best team in 2A baseball in New Mexico this year. Eunice and Texaco have faced off in football this year. They faced off in football last year, and it has become quite the rivalry. This year, the 2 teams have faced 3 times. Eunice won the first meeting. Texaco won the second meeting in convincing fashion, and then the third meeting was a one-run game, a heck of a game, and so Eunice has bragging right, or Texaco has bragging rights right now with that 2-1 split on the season. But we've still got some baseball to play here. The Cardinals could really use 2 runs. If they could pick up 2 here, the game would be over. We've got Gio Chacon, the junior, number 2, Ovi's partner in crime at work every day, stepping up into the right-handed batter's box. And it looks like we're making some adjustments out there in the field for the Estancia Bears. Any thoughts so far?
No, really.
All right. Well, that's what I like to hear. Not much to say. That means something's going right, I guess. The sun has just now got down at a position that makes it very interesting. You can kind of see it on our camera there. Makes it interesting as far as for us to see. I'm not sure what we've got going on. We've got one up talking to the Estancia coach on the first base line. It looks like we might even have a different ump behind home plate, or is that the same guy?
I believe that's the same guy.
Same guy? Okay. All right. So we're ready. Looks like there was a little bit of talking going on, but we are ready. Eunice up 10-2. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Gio Chacon, the junior, steps into the right-handed batter's box. We've got Zamora on the hill for the Estancia Bears. Chacon fouls that ball back high into the parking lot. If you've got dings in your car, it could be Chacon.
Or the whole Eunice Cardinals lineup.
I think they've all hit them back there into the parking lot. So Eunice Stadium here, the baseball field is very nice. It's an amazing baseball park. In fact, we get people from, El Paso and Amarillo and all those Texas schools that'll meet here to play sometimes because it is so nice. The parking lot is just not in the right place. Here comes the next pitch. Chacon bunts that ball down the third base line. He's boogieing for first, and he's going to get there. Chacon, with an amazing bunt and some fast footwork, reaches first base after the bunt. Great speed there from Chacon as he turns on that 10-2 40 speed, or maybe it's a little faster, maybe 10-200. All right. Wetterman a little slow coming down the third base line as he was playing way back in the back of the infield. That's going to send Sean Stinson up to the plate. Chacon now standing on first. Eunice needs to put 2 on the board. And we could end this game right here, right now. Chacon with a big lead. Stinson in the right-handed batter's box. He's ready. Here comes a pitch. He's going to bunt it, too. He hits his bunt right to the pitcher. The pitcher fires it over.
Safe.
Oh, and there's a bobbled ball there at second, so Chacon is there safely on to second. So a nice bunt there by Stinson. So 2 bunts lead to runners at first and second, and that's going to bring it back to the top of the lineup where your senior captain here, Hayden Dean, the right-hander, second baseman, on his way to play some college football next year. My little cousin steps up into the right-handed batter's box. Runners at first and second, no outs. The runner at first represents the game-winning run. Dean, he's ready. Here comes the pitch from Zamora. Dean's going to bunt it too, and he bunts it right back here toward me for strike number 1. So Dean squared away, going to bunt it as well. And the interesting thing about that is all of the Estancia players were Jorge Ontiveros. He would really be number 1 in our hearts if he could bring Dean around. He's in that right-handed batter's box. He's ready. He's choked way up on his bat, even with a 1-ball, no-strike count. Big leads here for the runners. That ball swung on and missed for strike number 1. That evens up the count at 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here. Jorge Ontiveros, the junior, number 24. He always tells us, but he's number 1 in our heart. He steps into that right-handed batter's box. He's ready. Eunice up 10-2. Ontiveros. Zamora, the pitcher for Estancia, kicks and fires, and he throws that ball into the turf for ball number 2. The catcher, Armijo, does a really good job of staying in front of that one, or Chacon would have trotted home. So Zamora's back on the mound. He's ready. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ontiveros, El Chapo, he's ready to deliver. Here comes the pitch. He drives it up toward the second base. They fire it over toward first. The throw gets away. Chacon's going to score. Here comes the winning run, headed home. Dean heads that way. He slides in and he's safe, and that will end the ball game. That's 10 runs that Eunice leads, and the game is over. Eunice Cardinals are going to the state championship to face the Texaco Wolverines. It will be number 1 versus number 2 Friday in Albuquerque.
At 5.
At 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
So 5 o'clock, Eunice will have a chance in pursuit of state championship number 18. The 17-time Eunice Cardinals will be in pursuit of that elusive number 18 as they beat Estancia here on a run rule shortened game, 12-2. What a finish there. It's really cool to see Hayden Dean in his last time out here on the bases at Eunice Cardinal Stadium come sliding in with the winning run that ended that game. So what a game there for the Eunice Cardinals. They did an amazing job. They finished the game early, and they are advancing to Albuquerque to play in the state championship game. Oh, any thoughts?
And great game by the Cardinals. These last 2 playoff games, 2 10-run rules. Just amazing by the Cardinals. And
so Tucker with full, he pitched a complete game. He'll get the win. Great all-around hitting by the Cardinals. And I think the only 2 runs that Estancia was able to score was on errors from the Cardinals. And Eunice with a big win. I mentioned earlier in the pregame some of the old Eunice names that I had people send me for some of the old last names here as far as Eunice Cardinal baseball history. I'm going to mention those again. Langston, Wright, Langley, Gruber, Diamond, Crowell, Fisher, Hayes, Harvey, Brown, Gladden, Moberly. I have to mention the Joneses, and it's not even my Joneses, although there were a couple of those that were decent too. The Deans, the Thompsons, the Contrerases, Tramwells, Almaguers, and so many others. But you got to talk about Mason Caperton. Mason Caperton overplaying pitching at New Mexico State right now, and he comes from another Caperton that played during my day. His daddy Billy was a pretty dang good baseball player himself, but don't tell him I said so. He might get a little excited, but he was a good ball player as well. So, Eunice has got a history of producing some very successful baseball players, some great baseball teams. That's why they are leading the state of New Mexico in overall state championships here. I think we'll close it out. I know this game on Friday will be covered by our radio broadcast group. I will not be going. I've got work to do here in Eunice, so I'm not going to be able to go. I know that between TJ Miracle, Ty Friend, and the others, on the team, somebody will cover that game. We want to wish these Eunice Cardinals the best of luck. It would sure be neat to see them come home with a chance to capture number 18. Also, you've got Hobbs that's had a heck of a season going on, right now. And they've got an opportunity to chase down a championship this year as well. The Eunice Cardinal or Lady Cardinal softball team fell today in the semifinals, but we got to give a shout out to those girls because they had one heck of a season, and we'd probably get a swift kick if we didn't mention Maribel Lopez because the young lady pitched every single game, and as far as I know, every single batter that the Eunice Lady Cardinals faced this year. And not to mention that, from what she tells us, pretty much every single pitch in practice as well. Yeah. So she had a great season. We're proud of her. Way to go, all of those Eunice Lady Cardinal softball players. A couple of the seniors on that group. I believe Chantel Gonzalez was a senior. She was their catcher. Of course, Arissa Frazier, who was a senior on that team, and then the other one I believe is Kendra Caballero that played on that team, and so her brother Jonathan's on this group right out here on the baseball team. So we're going to miss those seniors on this team. There's a number of seniors. I won't go through all of them, and they've still got another game to play. So anything to add in closing? No, I believe this is our last game of the year.
Don't believe so.
All right. So, with that said, we'll close this out. We want to thank our sponsors, and ultimately we want to thank the Nullmark Digital Broadcast Network. They continue to cover these Eunice Cardinals, and, not every team, especially 2A teams in New Mexico, get this type of coverage. So without the sponsors, we couldn't do it, but without Nullmark Broadcast and Nullmark Digital, we couldn't make it happen as well. So for the Eunice Cardinals here, I'm Jimmy Jones, Ovi Ontiveros. We're going to say so long here from Eunice Cardinal Stadium as your Eunice Cardinals move on. Thank you. Have a good night.
You're clear.
All right. Thank you, ladies, back home, and we'll get off of here. Y'all have a great evening.
You too.